All right. Well, it's absolutely my pleasure to be here with the mighty Toronto Transit Commission today. And this is our second virtual grand international championship. And we're just really delighted to have the Toronto Transit Commission's participation again this year. And the topic that they've gotten themselves into is fair pay, FARE, is fair play. Okay, so I when I saw that, I said, okay, that's a good one. But seriously, their project is to tackle the really pervasive issue of fare evasion that's faced by transit agencies every day. And to do that, they are proposing a three-pronged solution approach that integrates technology with policy in a balanced and equitable way. So first, and one, a technical system that integrates live automatic passenger counter data with the smart card system to track real-time fare evasion metrics for every vehicle across the network. And well, I know everybody on the knows, but TTC, of course, is the largest transportation system in Canada. And they are going to be presenting that on a web-based data dashboard to facilitate really optimize distribution of personnel, of fare inspectors so they can do that on the fly, enhanced by AI powered and data driven dynamic routing and vehicle assignment. So all of this really happening very efficiently in real time. And I used to always say time is productivity and efficiency in transit. Secondly, a new unified transfer and ticketing system with machine readable fare media that will enable more accurate fare validation tracking and streamline customer experience. And finally, to be augmented with fare policy proposals to create stricter regulations, but to really incentivize fare compliance. And bringing that all to us today is absolutely tremendous team from TTC. I want to acknowledge their point of contact for this is Nana Dewan. Their technical support, who's been with them throughout the program, is DJ. Okay, Haveri. He's actually listening in, as are several this morning. And then I want to go to their team members. Okay, Peter Lai. Peter supports the software and hardware engineering activities in the rail signaling and train control systems to really help ensure safe operation of TTC subway lines. He's a recent graduate from the engineering science program at the University of Toronto. Peter is particularly passionate about the intersection of technology and public transit, and he has really been really hunkered in on this whole issue of trying to be able to really understand things from many different perspectives. And so, which fare evasion really does provide, if you will, in more than spades for transit agencies. And then we have Huma Noor. Okay, Huma is a recent graduate from the University of Toronto. She's specializing in biochemical biophysics and double minoring in biology and philosophy. After multiple experiences as a data analyst at startups, and she's now working as a data analyst and programmer at the TTC. Huma is passionate about using data to better and to improve systems. And in her free time, okay, she enjoys writing, reading, and considers herself to be very much a continuous learning. We also have Carl Zhang. Carl is a recent graduate from the University of Toronto, where he studied electrical engineering, and he also has a certificate in artificial intelligence. He started at the TTC very recently here in January 2024. He is a regular TTC customer, and he considers the AYA Challenge to be really a great opportunity to be able to inspire change and to be able to once again look at and discuss and become more understanding of the various viewpoints. Okay. And so it's been very helpful to have the mentoring that's taken place and the exposure to all the different departments, mentors, and team members on this very, very complex and challenging issue of fare evasion within transit systems. Next, we have Nicholas Gonzalez. Nicholas is a recent graduate from the University of Toronto, where he studied mechanical engineering. He started working at TTC as a co-op student in 2022 and has enjoyed working there ever since. He's motivated by being able to be part of providing safe, accessible transit. He works in the subway infrastructure maintenance. He's also interested in the intersection between policy and equity, with really special emphasis on how transit systems can ensure solutions that are beneficial and that work for the most vulnerable riders. And in his free time, he enjoys biking, baking, and being in nature. And then we also have Daniel Van, who I will acknowledge Daniel is the Career Awareness Trivia winner from last evening. Kudos for Daniel. He came in, I mean, it was like a sprint to the end, but he came in as the winner of our Sustainable Mobility Career Awareness Trivia contest last evening. He's a computer science student studying at the University of Waterloo. He's in his 4th year of studies. And as an end user, he is a programmer co-op student over the winter months of 2024. And he was introduced to the demands and use of technology across the Toronto Transit Commission. He loves taking on the challenges of these kind of new projects. And so he's really excited. He noted that he was really excited about being able to be part of the challenge opportunity and to be part of the team that helps to really bring this innovative approach to, once again, what is really a very, very complicated issue for public transit. And now I just briefly, we want to welcome you, and I want to just introduce our national judges, and then I'm going to be turning it over to Isaiah to give show your 3-minute video. But I am delighted to be joined, we are, by national judges, Andrew Brennan. Andrew is the Vice President of HNTB, a major engineering firm, actually globally, and he is their Vice President for the Transit Division. Joined by Deborah Salinas, who is the Vice President of Marketing and Communications at Sacramento Regional Transit District. We're thrilled to have as well Taylor Gill. Taylor is at the Metropolitan Transportation Authority, New York, Metro North, and there she is a Deputy Director of Performance Management. She's also a member of APTA's Emerging Leader Class, and she started life as a bus operator, okay? And so she brings a very, very rich set of experiences to the table. Terry James, she is the woman who does it all. I know that between on the administrative side at Jacksonville Transportation in Florida, that's noted for innovation. Okay. She is really, we're just delighted to have her. She has a lot of the administrative support, education, training, the whole gamut, and we're absolutely delighted to have the perspective that she brings. And then Mr. Michael Cavett. Mike Cavett is a retired IT executive, and he is also representing a new chapter with Omega Psi Phi fraternity. They're a national HBCU fraternity, okay, and have a particular focus internationally on STEM and STEAM programming. And so we're delighted to have Mr. Cavett here. And now what I'm going to do is to turn it over to Mr. Isaiah, and he is going to let it run. Okay, here comes the TTC presentation.
Did you know that every year the Toronto Transit Commission loses over $140 million due to fare evasion? Preventing fare evasion is crucial for the sustainability of a transit system. Inadequate funding leads to a reduction in services, which negatively impacts all riders.
Based on TTC studies and our own conversations with fare inspectors on the ground, fare evasion is a complex issue rooted in psychological, structural, and demographic factors. We aim to address these through a balanced, 3-pronged approach. First, we integrate existing hardware with powerful software to track fare evasion in real time. By integrating our automatic passenger counters installed above our vehicle doorways with our smart card system, we can determine right away the percentage of boarding passengers who do not pay their fares. Unlike AI and image recognition-based solutions, this system only relies on numerical counts, protecting everyone's privacy and avoiding any bias targeting.
All this data can be accessed to a real-time dashboard that shows a live color-coded breakdown of the fare evasion rates for every vehicle across the system, with the near instantaneous data helping fare inspectors and supervisors allocate resources on the fly by reaching the most vehicles with the highest evasion rates. As an extension, AI can be used for further optimization through real-time dynamic routing of fare inspection resources across the system.
With our smartphone and smart card payment system, our integrated solution works very well and is very convenient for riders. However, not everyone has a smartphone, and some prefer or need to pay by cash, which means dealing with these paper transfers and all their confusing rules. So the next step in our solution is to introduce a unified machine-readable ticket and transfer system with QR codes. These tickets can be sold everywhere, from smart fare boxes and vending machines to locations around the community. This system will not only improve the accuracy of our fare evasion detection, but also make the fare system more accessible and easier to navigate for everyone.
To tackle a complex and nuanced issue that's fare evasion, we cannot rely on technology alone. The third pillar for proposal is centered on more equitable policies.
As many of you know, fines disproportionately affect lower-income riders. To lessen the financial burden of a fine, we propose that part of a fine payment be put towards buying them a monthly pass. This initiative would allow them to directly benefit from the fine payment and prevent further evasion in the following month, while also serving as a psychological incentive to continue beyond it. To encourage more riders to pay, we are also proposing a lottery-based rewards program where every fare counts as an entry. Each month, prizes will be drawn and could range from free rides to cash incentives. This program aims to start a cultural shift from the current punitive methods through which fare evasion is enforced, and create a positive psychological incentive for people to pay their fair share.
Our three pillars form an integrated solution that combines technology with policy. By balancing positive psychological incentives with deterrence, we aim to reduce fare evasion in a practical and equitable way. With its full implementation, we estimate a reduction in fare evasion across the TTC by almost 60%, so almost $80 million of saved revenue. This will contribute to a better, more equitable, and sustainable transit system for all.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Dr. Scott, for your introduction to the TTC. Team TTC, you may now share your screen to deliver your pitch presentation to the national judges. Once you are all set up and ready to go, I will let my timer off and the next 15 minutes is yours. Thank you so much.
Yeah, are we good to start?
Yep, you're good to go.
I'm good. Yep.
All right, okay. Hi, everyone. Thanks for having us. We're Team Evasion Eradicators from the Toronto Transit Commission, or the TTC, and this is our proposal: Fair Pay is Fair Play. So the TTC is an intermodal transit network consisting of subway lines, streetcar lines, and bus routes that serve millions of customers in Toronto daily with its thousands of vehicles. Fare evasion has been a hot topic across the world, but especially at the TTC recently, for good reason. The TTC loses over $140 million annually due to fare evasion, which is around 15% of its revenue at an almost 12% fare evasion rate. This lost revenue comes from both fare evasion and from partial payments of fares. The methods and rates of fare evasion differ by mode due to ridership, service levels, and problems unique to each area. Streetcars have the highest fare evasion rates of all methods, as they operate on a proof of payment basis with no enforcement except the occasional fare inspector. Buses experience the highest fare evasion revenue loss, especially at back doors. Regular fare gates at stations have a low fare evasion rate, but crash gates, which are the only gates that accept cash, paper transfers, and legacy fare media, have a very high fare evasion rate. Overall, fare evasion occurs on all modes of the TTC at different levels, but stem from three main areas: structural, psychological, and demographic factors. Structural factors include a lack of real-time vehicle-level evasion monitoring, such as fare inspectors only being dispatched based on historical data, crash gates facilitating easy fare evasion but being required due to legacy fare media acceptance, and the lack of validation of payments from fare boxes, leading to losses in the form of partial payments. Psychological factors compound on the structural weaknesses, resulting in customers not perceiving any consequences to fare evasion, and confusion stemming from varying and complex payment and transfer systems makes fare compliance difficult and complicated. Demographic factors also play a role. Studies have shown that fines and fares disproportionately affect lower-income customers, and geographic access of fare media outlets affects access. Implementing a solution like automated fare enforcement using AI raises privacy concerns and may not align with societal values and the TTC's values. So we aim for a balanced approach, understanding fare evasion's societal roots and proposing measures to make fare evasion more difficult, tackling the structural and psychological factors, and addressing demographic factors to aid those in need. This thus leads us to our solution to reduce fare evasion on the TTC.
So for our solution, we're proposing a three-pronged plan integrating technology with policy to address fare evasion through live detection, unified transfers, and new policies. Overall projected to save potentially $80 million of lost revenue from fare evasion per year. The first pillar of our solution uses technology to track fare evasion in real time for every vehicle across the network using data from two key systems. The first of which is automatic passenger counters, or APCs, which are sensors installed above the doorways of our buses and streetcars that use infrared beams to detect the passenger boarding or exiting. The counts are processed and transmitted in real time through the vehicle's data communication system, which is called Vision here at the TTC. APC is a mature and widely used transit technology with the latest versions on the market reporting an accuracy of 98 to 99%. The second system is TTC's smart card system called Presto. Our proposal is to integrate the live data from onboard Presto readers with passenger counts from APCs, along with the vehicle location and stop data from Vision. The key idea is that by knowing how many people board a vehicle at each stop and correlating that with how many fare validations have taken place, we'll be able to automatically estimate in real time the number of people who boarded but did not tap, serving as a metric for fare evasion. Here's a basic example. Let's say 5 people board a streetcar at the stop, counted live by the APC. Before the next stop, the Presto system reports that there have only been 3 fare validations. So this data is then transmitted live, and our system would know right away that potentially 2 fares were not paid. In addition, upon detecting potential fare evasion, we will play a general, non-targeted announcement, such as reminder to please tap. This will be presented via both audio and visual form, spoken by a human character shown on the screen by the doors, serving as a subtle call-out to the actual fare evaders as a psychological deterrent.
So how do we access all this information? Well, we built a functional and comprehensive web-based metric dashboard that displays all this data system-wide down to the route and vehicle level. We can see the color-coded live evasion rates of all the vehicles at a glance in the table and map view, as well as their evasion histories. We can click on each vehicle to get more information, such as the current route, direction, stop, and the number of fares paid versus the passengers' boardings at the current stop and in total. We can also filter to see summaries by route or down to a single vehicle with a chart of the evasion data by stop. In addition to the live info, we can also use this as a tool to analyze and visualize historical evasion trends. From an interview with fare inspectors, we learned that currently, while they are assigned an area and routes, the individual vehicles inspected are random. This dashboard can greatly inform their decisions on which vehicles to inspect next to allow them to reach the most vehicles with the highest level of fare evasions during their shift. By incorporating modern technologies like AI, we can optimize how we send out fare inspectors through AI-driven dynamic routing.
One key benefit of our system is that it acts as a psychological deterrent. The real-time detection of fare evasion helps to optimize the use of resources and effectiveness of fare inspections in response to live data, which means that the fare evaders, they would encounter inspections more often. Because we're only working with pure numerical counts, there is no invasion of privacy or demographic biases that are often present with AI and image recognition-based solutions. The system does not and cannot directly observe the physical act of fare evasion and tie it to any specific individual, but this is actually a benefit for privacy and security. Like many transit systems, TTC's fleet already has the APC hardware, so there's minimal hardware costs, which will lead to a fast rollout. With that said, there are small margins of error with APCs and edge cases that may require some tuning factor to be calibrated, and we will require technical cooperation with vendors and stakeholders to achieve the real-time data integration. Finally, you might be wondering, what about all the legacy fare media that are not machine readable, including cash, tokens, and paper transfers? Well, Carl will take us through the next part of our solution, which will address exactly this.
So the second pillar of our proposal is upgrading to a new unified transfer system that replaces the legacy paper transfers currently in use and serves as a single standard ticketing format across the entire system. So the core element is a unique QR code printed on all paper tickets and transfers that can be validated by scanning it on Presto devices. Having single-use paper-based fare media is important in major transit systems, as it allows customers who do not use smartphones, the integrated smart card system, own credit cards, or just prefer to use cash to still be able to use our services. Pre-printed versions can also be sold as single ride tickets around the city as well, providing more equitable access to our fares. To support this new format, some hardware upgrades will be needed. Buses will have smart fare boxes installed that can automatically count the cash deposited and print out the new transfers for the customer once the correct amount is detected, and alert for partial payments. Streetcars and subway stations will have the currently existing ticket vending machines upgraded to print new transfers. Meanwhile, crash gates can be closed permanently, and collector booths at subway stations can be repurposed to staff service counters for issuing concession fares, smart card services, and manual face-to-face help to keep the new system accessible to everyone. Alongside the new ticket vending options, Presto smart card readers at all entry points in subway stations and on streetcars and buses will also have to be upgraded with QR code scanners to allow for automatic scanning of paper transfers. What's great is that with the latest Presto readers on buses and streetcars at the TTC, there's already a built-in QR code scanner. So the majority of the work happens in stations to upgrade all fare gates with a QR scanner. This is already implemented in Ottawa, which uses the same smart card system, and this can serve as a useful reference for TTC's implementation. So this system can be rolled out in phases. First, a software change can implement the QR code assignment and validation and activate the existing QR scanners on all onboard smart card readers. We can also install temporary QR scanners at station crash gates so that the entire system can validate QR codes from day one. Then the hardware upgrades could gradually proceed with both QR and legacy transfers in use in parallel. And once the full switchover happens, all crash gates can be closed. So one major benefit to our new system is that all fare media will be machine readable, leading to more accurate fare validation data that will crucially maximize the effectiveness of our live evasion detection solution from part 1. The new system also greatly streamlines the customer experience, eliminating the variety of transfer types and confusing usage rules currently present at the TTC, which can indirectly contribute to a reduction in fare evasion. Moreover, Crashgate can also be fully eliminated, taking away a major channel of fare evasion activity today. Also, using the paper-based format for single-ride tickets make it more recyclable and environmentally friendly compared to current tickets with RFID chips. On the other hand, aside from some technical challenges that may arise with implementing QR code validation system, there's also a sizable capital cost investment for all the hardware upgrades, but it's worth the benefits in the long run. Also, concession fares such as senior and youth cannot be sold at automated vending machines due to the risk of fraudulent use by adults, but the expansion of ticket sales at staff locations can mitigate this limitation. And up next, Nicholas will present our third and final pillar.
Thanks, Carl. After discussing the first two pillars of our proposal, we will now address the third, fare policy proposals. The first part of our recommended policy changes pertain to the structure of fine payments. As most of you know, fines for not paying fares disproportionately impact lower-income riders. To reduce this inequity, we recommend that the TTC offer that part of a fine payment for those caught fare evading be put towards buying a monthly pass. A Presto card will also be included along with the pass if the offender does not have one. This would prevent fare evasion for at least a month and would hopefully create a habit of paying fares. To be eligible for the alternative fine payment, patrons must demonstrate financial need to ensure equity. The second policy suggestion is implementing a brand new program. The Fare Incentivization Program is a lottery-based system that gives riders who pay their fares a chance to win prizes. Here's how it would work. With each tap at a Presto machine, a unique number is generated from the transaction. This number would be linked to a unified transfer ticket or a Presto card registered online. Each month, prizes are drawn from these unique numbers and are won by paying customers. The prizes can range from free fares, monthly passes, and even cash incentives. This program is inspired by similar initiatives in Taiwan, Slovakia, and Portugal, where they have resulted in a 75% increase in revenue. The main goal here is to create a positive psychological incentive, as opposed to how fare enforcement is traditionally used. This positive incentive is used to motivate patrons who do not usually respond well to negative enforcement. Currently, the TTC is planning to start a pilot program in the coming months. Finally, we need to acknowledge both the advantages and limitations of our fare policy proposals. Our proposed fine repayment policy provides an equitable way for people to pay a fine and for their mistakes while also benefiting from these payments. Additionally, our proposal will create the world's first positive reinforcement program for patrons to pay their fares. The biggest challenge with a fine repayment policy is that certain aspects of how fines are collected are governed by provincial legislation. However, these bylaws can be rewritten or changed. The risks associated with the purchase incentivization program are significant, as it may result in more lost revenue than the amount which is recuperated. We suggest that market research is conducted before implementing this policy to reduce any risks associated with the program. Again, to this end, the TTC is creating a pilot program as a proof of concept. Now, I'll pass it off to Huma.
Yeah, so our proposal to reduce fare evasion on the TTC involves three key elements: integrating technology for live detection and optimizing fare inspector deployment, implementing a unified transfer system and upgrading to smart fare boxes, and introducing new policies and programs, all of which will decrease partial payments and fare evasion while encouraging compliance. Overall, from targeting all of these channels of fare evasion and comparing our solutions to comparable initiatives in other transit organizations and previous TTC projects and initiatives, we estimate our solutions can potentially recuperate a minimum of $80 million or 55% of the revenue lost through fare evasion yearly.
Looking at a breakdown of our recuperation and cost analysis, we expect to fully eliminate lost revenue through crash gates and partial payments due to the removal of the mechanisms that enabled those methods to be possible in the first place, along with a further 50% reduction in fare evasion and recuperation on streetcars and buses through the increased psychological pressure and the improved structural systems. On top of the recuperated losses, we are hoping for at least a 30% increase in gross customer revenue due to the incentivization program if it is implemented and successful, with half of that going towards prize payouts and operating expenses, as is typical with other publicly operated lottery systems. Meanwhile, there are additional costs of building and implementing our proposed systems, but by our estimates, they are largely inconsequential over time compared to the recuperation that we are projecting.
So we believe that we can create big impacts with our solution in alignment with the challenge themes as well as the UN Sustainable Development Goals. Introducing an easier to navigate fare system along with expanding access to fares will significantly streamline the customer experience for everyone, reducing the barriers and creating more equitable access to transit for all groups. The real-time fare evasion detection innovatively integrates data and technologies to enhance the effective use of resources while protecting customers' privacy. While in an ideal world, transit might be completely free, the funding realities of transit agencies, especially in North America, means that the existence of fares is unavoidable. Through both technology and policy, our solution prioritizes the positive psychological incentives to encourage everyone to pay their fair share as shared users of the vital service that is public transit, ensuring that the transit agency could continue to deliver and improve service that many groups depend on, and fostering a just and community-oriented culture that overall will contribute to the sustainable growth of our cities and communities. Thank you for listening, and we'd be more than happy to answer any questions.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Team TTC. That was a great presentation. Really appreciate it. I'm now going to be resetting my timer. It is now the next phase of this call is going to be a 15-minute Q&A session with the national judges. I will now hand the floor over to the chair of the national judges, Mr. Andrew Brennan, to lead the Q&A section. So thank you so much. Mr. Andrew, the floor is yours.
Thanks, Isaiah. Great work, really fascinating and thoroughly thought out piece. I'm Andrew Brennan. I'm with HNTB and the National Transit and Rail Practice. This time we'll switch up the order of the questions and I'll have my colleagues start. So if you don't mind, Taylor, if you want to start off, if you have any questions, and then after Taylor, we'll go to Michael.
Yeah, sure. Great job, everyone. That was a awesome presentation. Fare evasion is so complicated, and I was really impressed by how you hit all the different points. My question really was like a little bit more on like I guess a detail side of what were you envisioning as, or if you had conversations about what kind of percentage could be applied to a future transit pass for the fare fines, you know? And it, like, is that a set number for everyone, or is it dependent on need?
So just to clarify, first of all, the transit pass would be given back to the rider who were fined. So it's not for a future distribution, but it's for that specific person who were fined. Nicholas, do you want to add to that? You want to answer the question about this percentage?
Yeah, sure. I think so. Fines start at $150, and a transit pass is $128. So it would cover all of that. And I think at what point a person would become eligible to it is a more complex issue. Currently, riders who are making less than $30,000 a year are eligible for lower fares. So it could be tied into that number, or perhaps some other metric that could use some public input just to make sure that it's equitable.
Have there been any discussions about like repeat offenders, right? If someone is, now this is their new way of doing it, instead of buying a pass, they just wait until they get fined.
Yeah, we have considered this. And so currently the TTC is exploring a tiered fine system. So this could be implemented as part of that tiered system, where this is the first tier and then it goes onwards. So yeah, that's how it would be done.
Okay, Michael, you have any questions? You're muted, Michael.
The bottom's gonna be oh, Michael, the button to unmute yourself is in the bottom left. It'll be where it says audio. Yep, there you go.
Okay. Hey, great job, Toronto.
you.
Excellent presentation. I'm gonna have to stop going behind Taylor because Taylor has all the same questions I have.
I'll take you out of order next time.
No problem. Again, you addressed the how would you handle habitual abusers of the system and your tiered fine system? I guess my one question would be, do you have like physical human intervention for identifying the fine abusers or the fare evaders?
Yeah, so currently we have fare inspectors who go around to all the vehicles, or most of them, to basically inspect every rider, ask them to show their proof of payment, and then so it's like they're the humans that will actually identify people who fare evade and issue the fine accordingly. But our proposed system in part one, let me go back to that, is not for identifying the specific individual, but for generating the data, the aggregate data for each vehicle. So it's like a count, a percentage of how many people who boarded the vehicle did not pay. And then this information can be used to optimize the allocation of our humans to different vehicles to make sure we are going to the vehicles with the highest evasion rates.
Does your system integrate camera systems like for a centralized location where you could see if maybe at your paper ticket systems, if there was a jam with the paper, or if the paper replenishment of the paper tickets for high traffic areas, how do you handle that, propose to handle that?
Yeah, so there are different ways to pay, but for one of them would be the smart fare boxes that we propose to install on our buses, and those would have a kind of error detection mechanism as well, and I'll report issues with the hardware, so the system could automatically adjust for that as well.
Okay, I have no further questions. Thank you.
Great,
Toronto.
thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Terry, if you have a question, and then after Terry, we go to Deborah.
I really don't have a question because, again, Taylor, she took us, she had my question as well. But I want to say, first of all, you did a phenomenal, thorough job. Excellent. The only thing that I may want to ask maybe is I like how, okay, so I went to Canada one time and you guys are the sustainability, recyclable country that you guys are on top of it. So I loved when I heard you speak and say that the paper ticket is going to be recycled versus the RFID, that you would prefer the paper over RFID. I thought that, yes, they were on top of it when it comes again to, the environment. So I just wanted to commend you on that. So that's really a comment, not a question.
Thank you.
Great. Deborah?
I always like to ask a leadership question. So how did you build consensus of like what your project was going to be? How did you work together to do that?
That's a good question.
Yeah, Uma, do you want to go?
Yeah, so we started along an entirely different axis, and then like after coming to like we met multiple times throughout our month and a half that we worked on this, and realized that fair evasion seemed to be like the most pressing issue at the TTC, and that there were solutions that were technical, and that's kind of what got us started. Like there was technical solutions that could pretty easily be implemented with the smart fare system, as well as connecting that to the automatic passenger counters, and we realized that that was like a really great avenue to explore. So we continued along that direction. We've just been meeting consistently, and everybody taking different portions of it. So overall leadership has been pretty smooth, I think.
Yeah, and then if I want to add, and we also realize that fare evasion is such a complex issue. It's so intertwined with many different societal factors that you can't just address with technology alone. Like an easy like solution might just be okay, like track everyone and see if they pay the fare. But that's that's huge privacy implications. So we wanted to not just explore technology, but also look at the policy side and try to strike a balance that integrates both of them together to really the ideal the ideal goal is to not look at the negative enforcement aspect, but to push more of the positive psychological incentive to encourage people to pay instead of doing the negative enforcement.
Great.
And if I can just add to that, sorry, I don't know if you have time. I found something that we did really well is that even though fare evasion wasn't everyone's favorite topic, we split up the parts so that everyone was doing something that really that spoke to them and that they were passionate about. So I think that was good.
That's interesting. Great. So this is really fascinating and incredibly well thought out. And I'm wondering, to what degree have you begun to try to normalize this or discuss this with either senior management or people at TTC that would be doing it? I mean, do you have a level of confidence that it's integratable into, with a, what do you see as the ability to roll this out into a real project?
Yeah, so there are, I think, several factors, so several different aspects because of different parts of our solution. So the first part, which is the live detection, I think would not be too difficult because we already have the APCs installed on our vehicles, and we have our smart car system. So the main part of the work is to cooperate with the different vendors and stakeholders to develop the real-time data integration piece. And then the dashboard, we already have a prototype, but we can expand that to integrate all the data in. So there's not much, capital investment, but it's a lot of some software development and technical changes. The second part is actually something that TTC is also already considering to eliminate these legacy paper transfers and to use a machine readable format so that we can close these crash gates that are mostly unattended right now and people are just abusing to evade fares. So there's going to be some hardware investment for this. So that would be, of course, there's also a lot of politics involved. We have to depend on funding as well. But it is something that, it's already an initiative that's ongoing that I think we are excited to work with other departments at the TTC to make this happen. And then the third part, I don't know, Nicholas, do you want to talk about the third part?
Yeah, sure. So the fare incentivization system, or the lottery-based system, that is something that we found out after we presented that the TTC is also looking at doing. And we have spoken with the head of the innovation team at TTC, and he has shown some desire to get our opinion, and especially after this competition. He wants us to meet with the C-suite and sort of present our ideas to them. As to the tiered system for the fare repayments, we haven't heard much about that, but again, we are planning on meeting again with the head of our innovation department after the competition.
Yeah, and the main thing with this one is that the fines are currently governed by the province. So there's going to be a lot of discussions to be had to work out like the legal and political side of it, for sure.
Okay.
Because the TTC wants those fines redirected to the TTC, because right now they're going the province. So we're missing that revenue too.
Okay, we have a little over 3 minutes. Do any of the judges have any additional questions they want to throw in there? No? Nothing? Taylor, you look like you might.
I had one and I lost it, and I meant to make a note to myself.
Okay.
Gosh, I guess I would just say, like, not really a question, but a comment. Like, I really appreciated you using like existing infrastructure. You know, I always say, like, one of my favorite parts of the industry is trying to figure out how to solve problems with 2 rubber bands and a quarter. Like, you can't always throw money at a situation, and for the agencies, you know, like that have limited budgets or that have recently gotten new fare systems, you know, to be able to leverage that and get more out of what they already have is huge. So it just goes to show, I think the best ideas are the ones that can be replicated, and just hats off to you for, you know, to taking that into consideration.
Along those lines, this idea of integrating the automatic APCs with the fare vending, the fare validation, is a really elegant solution to me. And I'm sort of wondering, is anybody else doing it? Did you see it or something like it and think, oh, we could adopt it here? Did you just think of it yourselves? And if so, that's pretty incredible, because why haven't we all been doing that for years? So how did that idea come into the equation?
I believe that we came up with it ourselves. Like, we did a lot of research into it to see if something like that existed, because once we thought of it, it seemed like a pretty obvious solution to integrate the
really
systems
obvious.
that already exist. We did realize after researching into it that a lot of the complications come from like the technical systems being, or the difficulties from the technicalities of the systems being really old, and not necessarily compatible or governed by different legislations and bodies. Like, for example, the entire Presto reader system is governed by the province of Ontario, so we'll have to cooperate with them, and that is a bit of a limitation. But for systems and transit organizations that have it all in one, it would be a lot more easy to implement.
Yeah.
So it did feel like something that should have been done already, and we didn't see that
Absolutely.
anywhere else, but makes sense.
Yeah, and I just want to add, I think TTC and also some other agencies, they are kind of doing the non-real-time version of that, where they kind of take historical aggregate data with, you know, from the fare, like smart card system and APCs, to kind of, you know, reconcile it after the fact. But so our proposal is to make that real time, and you can see it instantly right away for, you know, like a bird's eye view of all the vehicles and the evasion rates at the same time.
Yeah, like I said, it's a really elegant solution. Congratulations.
Thank you very
And
much.
with that, I think we'll turn it back to Isaiah.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you so much, national judges, for the great Q&A session. Team TTC, you guys now have the floor to deliver any sort of final closing remarks you want the judges to take away with your guys' pitch presentation.
Yeah, so I guess the one you know, takeaway is that so we're really tackling this complex issue of fare evasion, you know, using a nuanced and balanced approach that integrates both technology and policy. So we're emphasizing the positive psychological incentives aspect to encourage fare payment, you know, in a fair and equitable way. So then to ensure that the transit agency could continue to improve and deliver service for everyone. So that would be our final takeaway.
Awesome. Thank you so much. National judges, just so you guys know, we now have our lunch break, so we will not see you guys for another hour. But Dr. Scott, please feel free to wrap this pitch presentation up and take us home. Oh, you're on mute right now.
Oh, wait a minute. You know, I have been with rapt attention. I do want to acknowledge 2 of the senior management and head of, in fact, the head of their overall innovation IT, and that's Mohammed Ishmael, and then Scott Cameron is in the room. I just cannot say enough about TTC leadership from their board of directors. I mean, because the questions always come up, well, how well are these just ideas that are over here, but they'll never have implementation? And that is not TTC. Okay. I will say to you that very impressed because and I'm saying a little bit of this because by intention, we have a mix of judges, but not everyone is a transit person. TTC, 80% in Canada, GO Transit being the lead, okay? of this is you've been more than timely. It's real. 80% fare box recovery in North America, the highest, and 70% at TTC. So you cannot have a mission without a margin. And so the reality of tackling this one, which is one of, as we all know, all of the nuance, the challenges, the real world, the making the sausage, the who does it impact, and all of that, is, I cannot say enough in terms of the the importance and the thinking, both at the strategic level and the practicalities and operationally of how to do it. And there's some things like that have been brought up by the judges themselves, the elegance of all of that. Just thank you very much. It's been very, very well thought out, and I've really enjoyed and thought to myself too, duh, okay, but anyway, you have done an awesome job. And again, to Daniel, you brought it home last night on the career awareness piece. So anyway,
Yeah,
thank
and
you
then,
so much.
Dr. Scott, also Dhrutaksh wanted to take just a little bit to thank the team and leadership who were able to join the call as well. So Dhrutaksh, if you're able to unmute, please feel free to take us home.
Yeah.
Sorry. Hi everyone. My name is Ritosh. So I've been supporting the team that just presented throughout their journey. So I just wanted to tell them, incredible job presenting today. You guys have put in a lot of effort into this, and great presentation, and congratulations. And thank you so much to Muhammad and Scott for joining in on a Saturday. Thank you so much. And thank you for all of your support to the team as well. I don't think any of this would have been possible without the emphasis on innovation and sustainability. So thank you so much. Thank you so much, everyone. I won't take up any more time. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and go and enjoy the rest of your Saturday. And we're very impressed, and thank you for the participation and sharing.